So coming out of the Galactic Open series, one character that I'd admittedly kind of written off that really impressed me was this guy, Paz Visla. So today, let's talk about how to play him as well as potential partners. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my Star Wars Destiny friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando and the Commando cast, and happy Destiny Friday. That's right, I hope your holiday season is going well. We're in between Christmas and New Year's, kind of that little lull in the storm, the eye of the storm. There we go, let's say it that way. So today what I wanted to do was talk Paz Visla. Now, as I mentioned, I'd kind of written him off before. I in general, if I'm being kind of honest with myself, which might be a wrong take, but I've never been a huge fan of the deal yourself indirect to deal indirect, right? I mean, again, it's, taking it for money or something like that, outside of like a Maul Kira or something like that, where you have an archetype built to do that. I've never been a super big fan of that. And interestingly enough, if we hop forward to the Galactic Open series, I ran up against a Paz record deck in my wave, which is wave 1. But wave 2 was actually taken down by Vin LaFrance, and he was playing Wreck-It Paz. So he's playing Wrecker Paz, and then, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the mission that never ends, and went 5-0 in Heat 2, right, with some pretty legit players across Heat 2. And so not only did I lose to Paz, and I was like, whoa, that deck hits pretty hard, did really well. So that was very interesting to me. So I kind of walked away from that like, that's very interesting. Now, today, in context of Paz, there's, he's 14 points. There's a lot of different ways we could go with him. That said, he's a trooper and he's a guardian. So I believe that the best options to pair him with, although there's yellow Mandalorians everywhere, right? I do believe the best option to pair him with is a red character. So that is where we're going to be looking tonight. So with that said, let's go ahead and pull up the options with which we can run him. Okay, so if we go to this deck, which is kind of a deck that I have built, it's not really, it's just a good quick way for us to look at the options with which to play him. We have Cara Dune, which is interesting. So she's 14 points. I actually like Cara. She's pretty cool because you get to do tricks with her. You get her gun has redeploy when you're on her, and her gun's really good. So that's actually very interesting. We have Rex, who's a 10-13, leaving a lot of points on the table for that one, or on points off the table as it may be. But Rex has a pretty solid die. An interesting one to me is actually Janna here. So 1, 2 plus 2, okay, she's 15, so you're exactly where you need to be. Because remember, Teenage Mutant Turtles is going to cost you 1, 3 minus 2 for 1, as long as we're pairing up with a trooper, which is what we're going to do here, because then there's dual target. Not horrible die if she's the one that goes down first. And she brings in that weapon for potentially free. I mean, if we're looking at there, you're probably going to pay for it. Try and get some redeploy and stuff on there. But that's interesting, right? Potentially a 5-die start. Okay. Hunter is out there as well. So Hunter's 14 points. Again, leaves you a point on the table. But Hunter's pretty good. We've seen Hunter do some work. We have Wrecker, of course, we talked about. There is Tech. I don't see the play here. And then we do have Bo-Katan. Again, my head's mainly in red at this point. We do have Bo-Katan, okay, which is, she's a 15, but that would be, really, you're not going to be able to, mission never ends with that. So going through this, obviously, the Wrecker deck is out there. I will put a link below, and again, credit to Vin LaFrance, right? Vin LaFrance. I mean, it's their deck and they won with it, right? So that's posted. There's other copies out there as well. So let's actually talk about Janna, because that's very interesting to me in terms of what the options could be available with them. The other thing that I do, so let me go ahead and close the window capture. The other thing that's interesting with Paz is we have the Guardian stuff available. Now, to be clear, we don't have the full packet, right? Because a lot of that went, or I should say some of it went in Redemption, right? So we don't necessarily have all of that available to us. And interestingly enough, today, the only thing that we have available actually is I'm All Right, Pal, which really just helps you to kind of move that self-directed damage around, right? Now, what this really means is that you're going to be trying to put it all, like Paz is going to try and take the hits, and he's going to be the one that dies first, which is very interesting. And actually, I do need to know. I know that he's going to go first, but I do need to. If you know the ruling, could you put it below? Let's say Paz is your last one out, and you roll him out, and he dies. And this is not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing, right? It's not a mission that never ends question. It's just him alone. So say he's the last one out. He takes lethal because he's alive to the end of the round, and you can only assign indirect to characters that have health left, right? And only in the amount that they have the health left. How do you just get a free resolve on, like, if you resolve his foresight, is it free? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it prevents you from paying the cost because you still take the indirect. It's just you have nowhere to put it. So that's, if you do know the answer to that. Again, to be clear, the situation is Paz is the last man standing, takes lethal in round, but still has until the end of the round. Can you resolve his 4 for 2? I assume you can, and just don't have anywhere to put it. But I could see it being ruled in either direction. So let's anyway, like I said, if you know below, let me know. So anyway, we've gotten off track. So let's head back to my potential deck partners comparison here, right? With, Janna and then Wrecker, Hunter, for example. If we look at the, like, again, you don't want to waste the points, but what you're really the only real thing you're getting out of Janna, I guess 2 things. You're getting the extra health and a potential extra die at a bit of a detriment to your open. I mean, Hunter has 12 health also, right? So that's, and actually Wrecker actually has 12, right? I mean, that's the whole thing with Wrecker being a big boy. But Wrecker having that 3 for 1, I don't know. I mean, obviously the deck's good, but we're not going to focus in on that one because it already exists. But, going over Kara and Rex both being at 11, with Janna being 12, Hunter being 12, I do think those are probably your options. I am curious if, like, in the Wrecker Hunter, or sorry, excuse me, the Wrecker Pause deck, Wreck-It Pause, if it's just a math game of just trying to, because you only have really the 2 range side. So if it's just a math game of trying to get it out, and then remember, you do have the ability on Wrecker to just value them out, right, when you play things. The comparison, I guess, is Janna really has no ability other than the beginning to just kind of give you that leg up. Hunter, I feel, gives you better support overall. So I think that's probably where I would lean. Again, Janna, if you can give her the right weapon, that +2 becomes not super relevant. But if you look at Paz with what he has available, he's not super helpful for pairing up with that +2. So again, I kind of think Hunter is a good option, but that's where my head is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing around with this, and then we'll come back in a couple weeks and see. We'll kind of do a recap to this and see where we land. But in the meantime, I would love to know from you all, who do you think the best pair is? I mean, maybe it straight up is Wrecker, right? Maybe that's straight up the better pair, and you just try to math everybody out. Go aggro on them, seems good. But Hunter to me seems able to close the game better. I don't know. I would love to hear your opinion and your thoughts below. So anyway, that'll do it for now. This is very, very fascinating to me. Like I said, in general, I just kind of ignored him. I thought it was a really cool thing overall, but I just kind of brushed him off because, 2 to deal 4 is really only 2, right? And then, sure, you've got the indirect value thing on there. But hey, if you can get them down, that's why if you can get them down and they're distributing indirect, Hunter seems pretty good again. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks for listening to me kind of talk it out through my head, and go Commando.